Writing end-to-end tests used to be the scariest part of being a mobile developer. Different devices, different OS versions, flaky simulators, and you basically needed to be a QA expert to even attempt it. But it's 2026 and that's no longer true. In today's video, I'm going to show you Maestro Studio, a completely free desktop application that makes UI testing genuinely easy. By the end, you'll have real end-to-end tests running on Android and iOS and even in the cloud. Let's get into it. Okay, so first things first, we need to install Maestro Studio. And by the way, it's free and open source, and it's available for Mac, Windows, and Linux. So go ahead and download it. Once installed, next step, just go ahead and open it. It should look something like this. Then you can select the workspace. So if this is the first time that you are creating end-to-end tests on your project, I recommend that you create a .maestro folder inside your project. In this case, I'm using one of my templates. It's called Platano, which is a React Native and Expo application. Let's press open. There are a couple of ways that you can test your application in development. So you can have the server running and kind of like test it directly through the server, or you can compile it to have an APK for Android and a .app for iOS. Yeah, so the APK, you can just drag it into your Android device. And same thing for the .app or simulator, okay? This is going to install it. Then you can open it. You'll notice that this is a standalone application. It doesn't require the server to be running. And the same goes for Android. Let me bring it here and I can start it. Okay, this is how it looks. This is the app. So if you click here, you can select the device. By the way, this is my real Android device. It is connected to my computer through Android Studio. So right now, you'll notice that if I press on stuff, Maestro is going to run the command. And right now that opened the application, which is super cool. All right, so let's start by creating the onboarding flow. I want to test end-to-end the onboarding of users. So on the right in my folder, I'm going to create a new file and I'm going to call it onboarding flow video. And in here you can select the APK or your application. This is the package. And you can even add tags if you want. I'm just going to press create. Let's run this test to see what's up with this. I'm going to press run test down here. Okay, it's closing the application and then it's going to open it again. The first thing that we want to validate here is that when you press continue, it goes to the next screen, right? Or maybe you can validate that you can actually see the title. So you can just click on the item and this is going to press on it. Or you can do right click and this will bring this amazing window that will give you the actual code. For example, tap on, or we can assert visible, which is what I want right now. Just want to check that the title is actually visible. And then maybe we can press the continue. So I'm gonna say tap continue. It's actually going to do it. It's gonna take me to the next screen. So what I want to do here is just insert text directly. Down here, you'll find all commands, and then we have text. And here we have a bunch of options, like for example, input random text, random number, random personal name. And this is actually what I want. When I say insert and run, let's see what happens. Okay, and it adds a random person name, just like that. So that is actually going to enable the continue button. And in here, I can just say, again, tap continue. It's actually going to do it. It's adding the code, which is absolutely amazing. Okay, we get to the next screen. Like I said before, you can validate, for example, that this is actually visible in this step. It's going to look something like this, and then we can press continue just by right clicking, which is something super cool. So we can actually do gestures on screen, which is something that I really like. For example, I can say swipe, and this is in line context that is letting me know what commands I can run here. And what I'm going to do right now is just press this little icon, and that is going to open the docs. Here in the documentation, you can quickly see what kind of parameters we can pass to this command. And I say start. Let's take a look. One cool thing that you can do is just run this piece of code by just pressing this play here, run swipe, just this little step here. Let's see if that works. It's doing it. Okay, it did it. Nice. So from there, I want to take it all the way to the beginning. Let's say 10%. Let's see if this works. I'm gonna press and say run swipe. Say it's gonna take it. And now it's all the way to the left. Amazing. This is awesome. Then we can assert visible and continue. To see this in action, we can bring the actual device. And then let's start the test from 0. So I'm gonna run test. Let's see how this looks from 0. Okay, here we go. Now let's see if we can see the swipe. Didn't see the swipe, by the way. And I think it's because it's doing it super fast. So let's wait a moment here. I'm gonna say wait for animation to end. Let's give it a try again. See the real device. Okay, so it's waiting. Now it's doing it. Okay, cool. Now let's see if this actually works on iOS. So in here, I'm just gonna change my device. I'm gonna select my iPhone 17 Pro, which is the one that is already opened with the app installed. Let's bring it on. There we have it. So I'm gonna run the test. All right, the swipe. Looking good. Then continue. Enter a name. That's awesome. Great. By the way, this template, in case you're curious, the link is in the description. Awesome. Then we select a couple of options. Honestly, this is so tempting to use not only for end-to-end tests, but for automating things. Sometimes I have to do the onboarding manually, and instead of doing that, you can just run Maestro. So that's it. Then we can press continue, and we are done with the onboarding. Okay, so far we learned how to do it manually, which is the most fun, I think, and it's the one that I personally prefer. But in case you want to do this through the MCP and ask Claude to do it for you, you can check out the Maestro MCP server docs just to show you a couple of commands that you can do here, like fetching documentation, launch the application, and Claude can do all these for you. You can run flows, run files, stop the application, take a screenshot, all that just by prompting. So far we learned how to create and run end-to-end tests locally on Android and iOS, but that can only take us so far because there are so many iPhone devices and so many Android devices, and you might want to test on all their iOS versions that you don't have, and same for Android. And for that we can use Maestro Cloud. Let me show you. If you go to app.maestro.dev, you'll find your project. You can create a new one if you prefer. Create a new project. I'm just using the project number 1, and you can run any test in the cloud in parallel in multiple devices. You can trigger them from here, from the desktop application, or you can do it as well through your CI/CD. Just come here, switch to the cloud, and run the test. You can select the device. If you prefer, you can change the environment depending on what you're doing. You can also select a specific language for the test. Right now, I'm just gonna use English. You can just leave the default here or pick a specific .app or APK file and then just run. And that's it. This is going to upload the artifact and run it in the cloud. Okay, and it's in progress. But the cool thing about this is that you can run one more. Let's say that I want to make sure that this application looks good on iOS 18. So let's run it on an iPhone 16. And then run on the cloud. Okay, and it's running. But that's not all. Let's actually test this on Android. And I run this on a Pixel 6 API 34. Let's change this for the APK. I need the APK here, so let me just go to my builds, select my Plátano APK. This is for Android, so once we have that, let's run it. All right, in progress. Let's run one more. I'm gonna select, I don't know, API 31. Not sure if it's going to work. Okay, now we can actually view this in the Maestro Cloud. Let's go back here. When I go to my flows, it's a bit bigger. We can see that we have 1 successful, 2 in progress for Android. This is actually a drop-down for each platform. You can actually also do web. We have 2 preparing, 2 successful, all in parallel. So this is amazing. It's actually saving me a ton of time. Let's click on one of these. You can see that this is in progress, so let's click in the flow. Let me close this on the left. I can see how the flow, it's actually going in real time and even navigate to each specific step or each specific command. I can see the screen live on the right and it's done. So this is a successful test. From here, you can download the artifacts. Okay, let's do that just to show you. Here I have the logs, including the screenshots. All of them are complete, and I'm glad to know that my application works in API 31. Yes, that's cool. Let's see the flow. You can always come here and see how it looks on older devices, right? Same thing, it worked. So now let's take a look at the iOS. I want to see how this looks on iOS 18. Since Liquid Glass is not available on iOS 18, this is very important. Let's see the first one, it's done. It was successful, and this is version 18. So let's take a look. As you notice, this is different, and now at the end I also have a video that you can also download if you want. You can play it from the beginning. You can see how the application was installed. I can clearly see that this is iOS 18, and overall the application looks good on iOS 18 because I made sure that it's okay. But this is definitely going to help you catch bugs, especially if you are not validating, older versions. And we can even stress test that and running on iOS 17. But I don't know, I think it's too old for me. Just take a moment to realize what we just did, guys. We ran the application, the same test, the same flow on 4 different devices in parallel in the cloud. But of course, right now I did everything manually. And of course, in the real world, you're gonna have a CI/CD integrated that is gonna produce the APK and app files every time that a new pull request is created or a new change is added. Once you get the artifacts, you can integrate Maestro. So actually Maestro comes with a CI/CD integration. You can integrate it with GitHub Actions, or if you are using Expo with Expo Application Services, you can also check out this blog. And the TLDR here is that Expo supports Maestro Cloud directly. And that's it. That's Maestro Studio. I hope you liked this video. Let me know in the comments what are you going to be testing. Thanks to Maestro for sponsoring this video. Check them out. Use my link in the description. And if you're curious about the template, also check the description, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.